This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and it's Smackdown time. Fold v Fold. We have the Google Pixel Fold here and the Samsung Galaxy Fold 4, soon to be the Galaxy Fold 5, which I'll talk about too, and the minor changes from the Fold 4 to the Fold 5. But for two phones that both have flexible inner OLED displays that open to 7.6 inches, they're really quite different, other than the identical $1,800 price tag. We're going to smack them down now. So obviously both of these are Android smartphones and they are available now. The Fold 5 will be out in the beginning of August 2023. If you're watching this now, that's almost in time. Fold 4 is still obviously available. Those two phones are very similar. So you're looking at OLED displays inside and out. Fast refresh displays at that. And again, 7.6 inches, but herein is the big difference. The Pixel obviously goes with a default landscape orientation versus the Samsung Fold's portrait orientation, and that makes a big difference in how you use it, but it makes a bigger difference in the outer displays, the aspect ratio, whereas the Galaxy Fold series has had that, for a lot of people, annoyingly tall and skinny aspect ratio that just makes you want to open up the phone and stop using it, just the outer display, because it's kind of challenging, especially the keyboard and stuff. The Pixel Fold is a lot more usable. It's a normal, in fact, a little bit less tall and narrow than the average normal Android phone experience. 5.8 inches for the Pixel Fold, 6.2 inches for the Samsung, but therein, again, with diagonal measurement ratios, that doesn't tell you everything anymore. It's just a wonderful experience on the Pixel. I will say that I am biased because I do prefer that. And now a shout out to our sponsor, trendmicro, and their premium security suite. Whether you're shopping for a phone, a tablet, or a laptop, they've got you covered with one solution that does all of those devices, your Android and iOS tablets and phones, your Mac and your Windows PCs. And it covers 10 devices, so it's not like you have to add on and buy again and again. You get the idea. It does the work of several standalone applications. One of the reasons that I like it, no more having to buy so many different things. You've got, of course, antivirus protection, identity theft protection, malware protection, and a VPN built in, as well as a password manager. Schwing. And for those of you who are traveling in business or for pleasure, because it is vacation time, now that we can all get out and about again, that VPN protection is really wonderful to have. You're using public Wi-Fi, it's going to encrypt your transmissions, and it's going to check for malicious websites while it's at it too. Sadly, viruses, ransomware, password breach, security breaches, all those things have become the norm now. So it's really important to get something that's going to protect you. And that VPN is certainly icing on the cake. Be sure to use my link in the description down below to save. And now back to our video. So why do I prefer that? Well, it depends on your philosophy of using a phone, right? A foldable phone. I want something that is a phone first that opens into a tablet. So I want it to be quite usable when it's shut. And then I open up when I want to watch videos, if I want to look at spreadsheets, all those things that really, photo viewing and editing, where it makes sense to use a large landscape in a display. And otherwise, I just want to be able to pull it out and use it without having to open it. The Galaxy Fold is for people, I would say, who prefer a tablet first and wish to use it open most of the time because, like I said, it's a little bit more painful, other than the fact it's easier thumb reaching across the screen because it's so narrow. It's just a very constrained aspect ratio. So there you have it. When it comes to the inner display, 7.6 inches, like I said, just one in portrait orientation versus one in landscape. I think, given the fact that a lot of us just want the bigger screen for things like watching videos, stuff like that, and photo viewing, landscape makes more sense. I can understand 5 years ago now why Samsung went with the default portrait orientation because of the state of Android tablet applications or flexible resizing of applications in Android. Not really there still after all these years. So pretty much every Android app is designed to run in portrait orientation on a smartphone, so therefore, at least if you open it up and it's still in portrait orientation, you don't see those funny black bars, pillar boxing on each side, that sort of thing. However, Samsung has added their special sauce software to force applications to spread out. Not that you necessarily get more on the screen, but at least you don't see black bars. Whereas Google, who wants to go with the clean software experience and try to convince developers to finally update and change their applications, will give you pillar boxing or the ability to shift to the left or to the right side if something doesn't fill the entire screen in landscape position. Speaking of software, other than people who are religiously in the Pixel camp or the One UI Samsung experience, the differences are Samsung has been doing this for several more years, and they're more willing to change the Android operating system experience versus Google. I tend to like the way they do their launcher better, and I've always liked the little side swipeable launcher that they have so you can just quick launch applications. And when it comes to multitasking, again, they're further along and more willing to modify things as needed. You don't just get the Pixel's 2 apps side by side kind of multitasking. You get the ability to run like 3 apps. You can make them floating apps on the Samsung. For those of you who are buying this for extreme multitasking, more power to you. You're going to enjoy that probably more on the Samsung device. Now, the flip side of that is with Samsung, you still have that duplicate app experience, which drives some people crazy. Like, you've got Samsung Photos plus the standard Android photos. You've got Samsung's own app store. You've got their own messaging app. And it's still, I mean, One UI is way better than the days of old with Samsung TouchWiz, but there's still a bit too much bloat going on there. But then to score one more point for Samsung back again, there's Samsung DeX. People who use DeX love it, and that's sort of like a desktop experience if you're not familiar with it. So yes, you've got Samsung DeX on the Fold. Obviously, there's no such equivalent in vanilla Android like a Google Pixel device. When it comes to performance, Samsung wins because they have Snapdragon. They've got the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 coming out now. It's a faster CPU that tends to run cooler. Interestingly, Google runs their Google Tensor G2 processor, which is based on a Samsung Exynos processor. And, you know, normals are not going to notice the performance difference between these devices, to be honest. They're both going to feel snappy and responsive, and you can have multiple apps running and use Lightroom Mobile and other heavy things. And I haven't had problems gaming on the Pixel Fold, to be honest. But for those who are hardcore, and for that, understandably, $1,800, you want the best you can get, the Samsung will benchmark faster and will get you the highest frame rate in games as a result. Also, when it comes to heat, the Tensor G2 can get hotter. I haven't had any problems with that, but I'm not living in a super hot climate anymore, which probably helps. But some people have complained that the phone gets hotter on them than it would with the Snapdragon processor. When it comes to battery life, the Pixel Fold has a bigger battery by about 400 milliamp, and I've been running Android 14 beta on mine, which is available to anybody. You don't have to be special. You can download and install it if you want to. It's pretty stable right now. We're far along in the beta process, which does a bit better with battery life, but I'm finding them pretty comparable, and both of them are actually fairly decent. I make it through a day on a charge with both of these. They both support moderately, not really, you know, like 25 wattage fast charging. They both have Qi wireless charging, so you're on even ground there. Some people have complained if their Tensor G2 processor gets too hot that it will slow down charging. I haven't experienced that. I have no doubt that that does happen to some people. And here's two where we have obvious winners. If you like the S Pen, well, guess what? You only get pen support with the Samsung device. So if that's really important to you, you just have to go Samsung. Now, on the other hand, if mobile photography is important to you, the Pixel cameras are really hard to beat. No kidding. You don't even have to ask, right? So this is almost as good, this Pixel Fold, as the Google Pixel 7 Pro. Nicer shots, better lenses, 5x telephoto on it, so you've got a longer natural zoom range, just better photos all around. Now, Samsung holds their own with video pretty well, in video quality and video processing, so that might be a little bit closer for your 4K video shooting, that sort of thing, but overall, yeah, no kidding, it's a Pixel. One of the reasons people buy Pixels is for the cameras. There's that. Both of these support flex mode, that is if you want to bend them at a right angle and you have stuff going down on the top and on the bottom separately for applications that support it, like YouTube, for example, where it makes sense, or Google Meet, that sort of thing. Now, when it comes to support and repairs, the Fold has been on the market like only a month, so I cannot tell you how that's going to go. So far, Samsung over the years, if you read Reddit and other online forums, people have not been super thrilled with the support that they've gotten for things that probably sounds like weren't their fault. The screen protectors can peel, starting at the hinge area. It's not a biggie. You can get that replaced. You break iFix or send it in, that sort of thing. But sometimes the screens do eventually crack, especially if that screen protector puts too much pressure, it seems like, on the hinge. And Samsung seems to go out of their way when you call them up to actually tell you that it was your fault. Or you send it in, they'll find any scratch on the hinge and say, you must have dropped it, it's your fault. I expect, like they used to have with the OG Fold, like concierge level service. You're getting something that is this new and still somewhat unproven and expensive. They should kind of be more on your side, I feel. Now, Samsung is changing their tune a bit with the Fold 5 and the Flip 5. So they say you'll get one free screen protector replacement in the first year and a discounted screen replacement should you need it, if it's more than just the screen protector, the little plastic peelable thing on the top layer that peels off, and that will be $200, which is still not cheap. One would hope, if there's a warranty reason, that they won't argue with you as much as it seems they have previously done about whether it was your fault or not if that screen broke. Google, well, we'll just have to wait and find out. When it comes to the hinge design on these, obviously the Fold 4 still has that gap, and the Fold 5 is getting rid of it with a teardrop kind of shape for the inner display to flex. So that might help with the screen protector peeling for the Fold 5. And the Google phone folds flat. In fact, it's thinner. It still will be thinner than the Fold 5. So they both have a similar hinge design at this point, and they're both quite firm. So if you want to put them in any angle that you want, they'll hold and stay there. So there you have it. The Samsung Galaxy Fold versus the Google Pixel Fold. And I think in the end, the two biggest things, or three biggest things, honestly, for people are going to be the aspect ratio of the outer display, how much more usable the Pixel is on the outer display. Another important thing is going to be the S Pen. For those of you who are S Pen people, obviously you're going to go with the S Pen device. And when it comes to mobile photography, if you really want the best kind of camera that you can get on a phone, you're going to lean towards the Pixel phone. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.